Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. So as some of you know, I originally met Marla, who's going to be our today's presenter, when she was hired as a consultant on Central 70. And she struck me immediately with her knowledge. And we really worked to form a compliance team on several different projects. And that has continued on a great relationship, not only in compliance. So without further ado, I give you today Marla Nance, who will be presenting on our contractor fringe benefit statement. Marla?
Thank you, Monica. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I think a lot of you may be back from our previous training about 2 weeks ago. This is definitely, this is part 2 of our summer camp series. And today we're going to take a deep dive into this very important document, the Contractor Fringe Benefit Statement. Sometimes referred to as the CFBS, but it's the Contractor Fringe Benefit Statement. Now, if you joined us for our May 9th Certified Payroll Review training, you know that the very first section of the payroll review checklist that we talked about takes a look at the Contractor Fringe Benefit Statement and what you should be crosswalking with the certified payroll. So we did talk a lot about it in that series. We are going to really focus on just the CFBS today and kind of reiterate a lot of those same points, but maybe from a different angle. So, you know, sometimes you hear things differently when you hear people say it in a different way. So this will really be an enhancement to that training. And all of these topics that we're talking about with civil rights training, they all have tentacles. So they all kind of impact each other one way or another. And so it really does build on itself. So now, what is the purpose of the Contractor Fringe Benefit Statement? Well, the CFBS is the platform that the contractor uses to communicate to CDOT how it pays its laborers and mechanics to comply with Davis-Bacon Act. And if fringes are used to meet the minimum requirements, then it gives us the details of those fringes. Now, a revised Contractor Fringe Benefit Statement effective 5/8/23 has been made available in the LCP Tracker e-documents templates. And I believe you should have also gotten an email distribution of that along with some of the PowerPoint slides earlier prior to this training. So just so you've got a fresh copy of it, but it is available in LCP Tracker in the templates area. Okay. First, let's look at roles and responsibilities. And you'll notice in all of our trainings, we always start off with this because I think it's always super important to clarify on the front end of trainings so that as we're moving through the information, everyone who's participating has a clear understanding of who's generating the data and what each party uses the information for. Because if you're just listening to a training and you don't know how it applies to you, it's really hard to get a clear takeaway. So we typically always start with this so that it's very clear who's generating the information, who's using it, and how. So now the certified payroll specialist with the prime contractor and each sub is responsible for preparing the CFBS and uploading it into LCP Tracker eDocs when they're submitting the very first payroll. So now the LCP Tracker system will not allow the contractor to certify and submit their first payroll unless the CFBS has been uploaded. I do want to clarify that the system doesn't actually check the document and the information in it. It just acknowledges that a document was uploaded. So it's very important that the certified payroll specialist and whoever's reviewing the payroll is actually opening that document up and looking at it. And we're going to talk about what information should be on it. What does it mean for that document to be complete and accurate? Now, the prime approver with the prime contractor should then review the information prior to approving the payroll, because a lot of the information on the CFBS is going to tell them what the payroll should look like that they're reviewing. And then the project engineer, reminder that this is CDOT, a local agency or a consultant who's responsible for the oversight. They then are responsible for approving and rejecting the payrolls, and they too should be, accepting and rejecting the payrolls, and they too should be looking at the CFBS as they're reviewing the payrolls, specifically the first payroll. It's not to say that they might not go back afterwards and double check it for something else, but especially the first one. Now, when should contractors submit the CFBS? Well, we just said with the first payroll. So contractors must submit one CFBS per project at the time of the first payroll submission. And if during the project, the contractor's information changes, then they should be revising the information and uploading a new CFBS with more current information. If you'll notice at the very top right-hand corner of the CFBS, it says date completed. And also when they upload that to e-documents, they can put a date on the form so that when you're looking through e-documents, you always know what's the most current one. So keep that in mind, that there may be changes and that needs to be updated. And unfortunately, and we did say this before, when new documents do get uploaded into e-documents, it doesn't notify anyone. So it's really great if you can communicate with your contractors and let them know to give you a heads up if something like that does change, okay? It might impact the your review of the payroll and whether you accept or reject it. Now, Section A of the CFBS gathers basic information about the contractor, such as the contractor name, the project number, the name of the person completing the form on behalf of the contractor, and their phone number, because we need to know who's providing this information if we have any questions, right? Item 5 asks, is the reporting contractor an owner-operator? And if yes, they should also complete the owner-operator affidavit and submit it into LCP Tracker. So let's talk real quick about the owner-operator affidavit. It's used to document owner status for both owners of a company that may be working on the project themselves, or for truck owner-operators who own the trucks that they are driving on the project. Again, the purpose of the CFBS is to tell you what you should be seeing on the payrolls and how the contractor is paying. Now, both types of owners must certify that they own more than 20% of the company and participate in the management of the company. But if they are also a trucking owner-operator, they must also complete the bottom portion of the form as well. And it should be uploaded into e-documents. In the bottom portion, the truck owner-operators must list the VIN numbers of the trucks they'll be driving on the project, and also upload a copy of the driver's license, as well as an active vehicle registration for each truck that was reported. Now, Section B is seeking to find out more information about the methods of compensation that the contractor uses to compensate its employees, as it relates to fringe benefits that are required by the USDOL prevailing wage decisions. Now, while both cash and fringe benefits are acceptable to be included in the payment towards Davis-Bacon wages, there are stipulations from the Department of Labor regarding those benefits. So here is the contractor pays its employees in cash wages, then yet if they do pay in wages, then yes should be marked on the form. If in addition to cash, the contractor provides fringe benefits to employees as a means of compensation, then yes should also be marked in Part B. If the contractor only pays cash wages, then no should be marked here in this section 6B. If fringes are provided, the contractor is required to upload a copy of the contractor's fringe benefit declaration page. And this is information that is usually provided to its employees at open enrollment. Now, if the contractor does not have its own worksheet that contains all the necessary information, CDOT does have a fringe benefit declaration worksheet, and this was also provided to you all in the distribution of handouts, but also is available in LCP Tracker in the templates section as well. So let's take a look at how this information on the CFBS should agree with the certified payroll. So remember, there's two parts to a certified payroll. First part is the wage and hour information, the employees' names, the classifications, the number of hours they worked, the amount of pay that they're receiving. But we also have the statement of compliance, which is where the contractor certifies that the information being reported is true and accurate. So one of the most frequently confusing items about the statement of compliance is Section 4. Because in Section 4 of the Statement of Compliance, it requires the contractor to communicate how fringes were paid to the reported workers. So first you need to determine if the reported wage classifications include a fringe requirement on the wage decision. If it doesn't, then no boxes should be marked in section 4. If it does, then the contractor needs to tell you how the fringes are being paid. Now, almost all of Colorado's wage classifications have a fringe requirement, but there are some states that don't. So for the most part, in Colorado, the contractor would always be filling out this section 4. If the fringes were paid into a bona fide fringe benefit plan, then box 4A should be marked. If the fringes were only paid in cash, then box 4B should be marked. However, if fringes were paid to workers in a combination of cash and bona fide fringe benefits, it is acceptable by CDOT for both boxes 4A and 4B to be marked. And this may happen because not all of the employees may be entitled to fringe benefits that are being reported on the subject payroll. Any exceptions to these scenarios should be reported in item 4C exceptions and then further explained. So let's give a little bit more specific information on drilling this down. Let's look at an actual payroll. If fringes are reported on the payroll, then mark box 4A. And you would know that by the hourly values being reported in the gray boxes for fringes on the face of the payroll. If fringes are not reported on the payroll and the employee was only paid in cash, then box 4B should be marked. Here's an example of, you can see the zeros in the fringe boxes. But what about when you have more than one employee reported on the payroll and they're paid using different methods? In this case, if you have a combination of some employees being paid cash and some being paid fringe, CDOT has said it's acceptable to mark both boxes 4A and 4B. So now let's circle back to that fringe benefit declaration worksheet. So what are bona fide fringe benefits? So by regulation, only bona fide fringe benefits are eligible to be counted towards meeting the minimum wage requirement, which means that there are some benefits that are not allowed. So examples of bona fide fringe benefits are described in detail in the Department of Labor Field Operations Handbook. And those examples include for funded benefit plans, life, health, dental, pension, and 401k. For unfunded benefit plans, vacation, sick, holiday, PTO. The difference between a funded benefit and an unfunded benefit is that a funded benefit is one in which the contractor is making monetary contributions to a plan on behalf of the employee to fund the benefit. Whereas in unfunded benefit, there is no contribution to a plan, such is the case of when a contractor is paying out vacation, sick, and holiday. There may be, but usually not, and therefore the contractor has to request USDOL approval for unfunded benefit plans, during which USDOL, they review the specifics of the plan and then they determine if it is allowable. Now, examples of items that are not bona fide fringe benefits, which means they cannot be counted towards meeting the minimum wage requirement. Those include deductions required by law, such as taxes, Social Security, workers' comp, unemployment compensation, personal use of a company vehicle, holiday cash bonus or food item, suggestion awards, recruitment bonuses, tools and other materials or services incidental to the employee's performance of the contract, cost of furnishing, laundering, and maintaining uniforms or equipment where the contractor requires the employee to wear those items, and cost of social functions, association dues, paid coffee breaks. Again, these are just examples. Now, the contractor fringe benefit declaration worksheet is where the contractor is entering information to show you how what bona fide fringe benefits are being reported that are in agreement with those listed on the CFBS, but also how they're calculated. How are they getting to that hourly value? And what are the mathematical details? So now this is an Excel spreadsheet that again is available in LCP Tracker e-document templates. Again, the contractor can use their own worksheet so long as it's providing the same information. And the spreadsheet is set up so that the columns in red specifically correlate to the fringe benefit boxes that you're seeing on the certified payroll. And so we're going to show an example of how, if those boxes don't match, then you need to be asking questions as the reviewer of the payroll, okay? So the Excel spreadsheet has multiple lines, and this is where the contractor will report each employee specific benefits that will be reported on the certified payroll. Now, this spreadsheet is by employee because you cannot average fringe benefits for reporting. It is specific to each employee. Okay. That's also why we said that if the employee's fringe benefit information changes by any amount, this will have to be updated. So let's take a little deeper dive into the spreadsheet. Now, section 1 is asking for the date the information is being submitted because fringe benefit rates can change for a reported employee, and the worksheet must be updated. Therefore, it's very important to know what is the most current information. Also, you need to know who's reporting the information so as to know how to contact them should there be any questions. Section 2 provides a place for the contractor to communicate notes about the information being reported if needed. There may be something unique. This is just the platform for them to bring that information to the attention of the reviewer. And then there's some basic worksheet guidance that's been provided, saying that this should be completed for all employees receiving company fringe benefits and reported on the certified payroll for the project. It should be uploaded to LCP Tracker e-documents, and it should be revised if any information changes. It also says that formulas should not be altered on the spreadsheet. They are locked. And then also there is an instruction tab provided within the body of the spreadsheet that gives specific guidance on what should be filled out in each field. Now, looking at section 3, this is really the meat of where the information is reported. Like I said, there should be a separate line for each employee being reported on the payroll. Item A lists the employee's name. Then we've got B, which is the employee's ID. This should be able to be cross-referenced to the certified payroll so that there's no question about who the information is being reported for as it relates to the payroll. Item C is the employee's hire date. Item D is the employee's normal wage rate off the side of the project. So many times a contractor may increase the rate that they're being paid on a Davis-Bacon project in order to meet the minimum wage requirements. They don't have to, because there is an option on the payroll to pay rate in lieu of fringe. In other words, if they're short, they can just pay the additional amounts and report it on the payroll. However, as you'll see momentarily, this rate is very important because there are several fringe benefits that are used to calculate the fringe based on this hourly value, such as sick leave, vacation, or PTO. Those are a set number of hours that the employee may be eligible for. And in order to determine the value, you've got to multiply those hours. For example, if an employee receives 80 hours of sick leave in a year, you would take the 80 hours multiplied by the hourly rate, and then based on an annualization method, divide that by 2,080 to come up with the hourly value. So we'll talk about that and look at those fields a little bit more here shortly. Now, in item E, the total hourly fringe value is calculated from the individual columns across the spreadsheet. Remember, I said that all the red columns are going to add up to this total hourly fringe value, and those are the exact numbers that you should be seeing on the certified payroll. Now, items F through O take a look at health and welfare fringe benefits, including health insurance, dental, life, disability, or other bona fide fringe benefits. In item O, the total hourly value for health and welfare fringes are totaled. And again, this is what you should be seeing on the certified payroll. In item F, the contractor would report the total monthly premium that is paid on behalf of the employee for health insurance. In item G, if the employee makes any contribution to that monthly premium, that amount is entered and mathematically less from the total premium, because only the portion of the premium being paid by the employer on behalf of the employee can be counted by the employer towards the wage requirement. So if the total monthly premium was $500 and the employee's contribution was $250 for that month, only $250 which is the amount being paid by the contractor, can actually be counted towards fringe benefits. Now, items H and I are for self-funded plans. In H, the contractor reports the monthly fixed cost of the plan for the employee, and in item I, the monthly variable costs are reported. Now, it's important to note here that a contractor either uses a third-party provider for their health insurance plans or they're self-funded, but they will not be both. Therefore, only item F and G or item H and I should be reported, but not both. And we try to make that very clear on the spreadsheet here. Again, if the contractor has any questions, they can provide some notes and questions up in the comment section, and then the reviewer may need to call for clarification. Then, based on the information entered, item J calculates the monthly cost that can be counted towards fringes. In K through M, the contractor continues to report monthly premium amounts paid by the contractor for dental, life, disability, and then any other health fringe. Item O then takes the total monthly value, divides it by 170 hours for an annualized hourly value. In items P through R, report pension amounts. Item P is an hourly pension amount that is entered, and in Q, a 401k percentage can be entered, which is then multiplied again by that hourly rate that we listed. R provides then the total hourly pension fringe based on an annualized calculation method. In S, T, and U, the number of vacation, sick, PTO, and holiday hours that the employee earns is reported. We talked about this a minute ago. In V, these total hours are multiplied by the hourly rate for the employee and then divided by 2,080 for an annualized hourly value. In W, the monthly cost the contractor pays for training is reported. And then again in X, the amount is annualized into an hourly value for training. Y through AB provides a space for the contractor to report other types of bona fide fringe benefits that may not have been specifically accounted for here, but are bona fide fringes. And the contractor can actually change the column headers here to explicitly explain those types of fringes. Now, whether the contractor uses their own fringe benefit declaration worksheet or CDOTs, they must communicate the specific fringe benefits for each employee reported on the payroll. And the hourly value calculation on the worksheet must agree with the reported values on the certified payroll. Fringe benefits cannot be averaged again across the contractor's workers. They must be reported for each employee. Now, if you're seeing that the hourly values on the contractor fringe benefit statement are not agreeing with the certified payroll, that is a valid reason to reject the payroll. I would like to kind of reiterate, and we talked about this a lot during the certified payroll review checklist series. There's nothing wrong with rejecting a payroll. It's just a matter of bringing the payroll back into compliance. Rejecting the payroll is just the communication platform to say, hey, something doesn't look right here, or something doesn't agree that should, and I need you, the contractor, to take a look at this and let's get it resolved. And sometimes it may be a function of the oversight person missed something, or they misread something, or misunderstood. And again, it's just a matter of the contractor responding in LCP tracker system to say, this is the correct information, or let me clarify what's going on here, okay? So just wanted to take an opportunity to reiterate that here in this session. So here in this example, you can see that off the declaration worksheet, the total vacation holiday fringe hourly value was $1.80 per hour, and the certified payroll correctly reports that amount. Now, in section C of the CFBS, the contractor details out the types of benefits, funded and unfunded. For those that are unfunded or self-funded, the contractor must have USDOL approval and have that letter in hand, and they have a separate area that they would report those. So here in section C is where the contractor would list the funded fringe benefit plans, and these should also align with what you're seeing on that declaration worksheet. In section D, the CFBS gives the contractor a very specific guidance on how to request a USDOL approval letter for unfunded or self-funded fringe benefit plans. Again, this is information for the contractor to know what information should be included in the request letter, as well as the specific department that that letter should be sent to and addressed to. And then just like section C, section D asks the contractor to list out any unfunded or self-funded fringe benefit plans, as well as the date of the corresponding USDOL approval letter, which should be uploaded into e-documents. So when you're checking this form and you see that they have a USDOL approval letter, you should also go to e-documents and actually find a copy of that letter. If it's not there, again, reject the payroll, ask the contractor to upload it, okay? But just listing that they have one is not sufficient in the review and acceptance of a payroll. So we wanted to give you an example of what a USDOL letter looks like for a company that pays unfunded fringe benefits, for example, paid time off, vacation, and holidays. Now, note that the approval letter specifically states the type of fringe benefit that is being approved and that the contractor is claiming credit for. If that letter doesn't specifically state that type, then it does not apply to that specific fringe benefit that is being reported. And you may need to ask for a different letter, or the contractor may have uploaded the wrong letter accidentally. But it must specifically say the type of unfunded fringe benefit or self-funded fringe benefit that has been approved. Now, also you want to make sure that the letter was addressed to the right contractor. You know, a lot of contractors they may have doing business as, or they may have subsidiaries. So you want to make sure that that is the contractor's name that is reporting the CFBS and on the corresponding certified payroll. In section B, the contractor is also required to report the day of the week that their payroll begins and ends, as well as what day they pay their employees on. Contractors are required to pay no less than weekly and submit certified payrolls within 7 days of their regular pay date. These two requirements are driven by the underlying pay period and pay date of the contractor. Therefore, the CFBS asks the contractor to communicate these hours so that you as the reviewer should be able to correspond that to the certified payroll and see, okay, they said that their pay period is Monday through Saturday, and yes, that's the time period that's being reported on the certified payroll. If it's not, again, you should reject the payroll and ask for clarification. So now in this example, the contractor's pay period was 9/19/22 to 9/25, Monday to Sunday. I do want to clarify that a pay period must be a 7-day period. It cannot be Monday through Friday. It must be Monday through Sunday or whatever variation, but a sequential 7-day period. There's no exceptions to that. And then the contractor here is paying employees on the following Friday, which is in the case is October 7th, 22. Now, each employee line on a payroll has a place to indicate the date that the contractor paid that employee. And while generally speaking, all of the pay dates on the payroll should be the same, right? Contractor has payroll run, they batch their payroll, they pay everybody on the same date. But obviously there may be some exceptions, things happen. It is important for the reviewer to know that this information is there and you should be looking at it, because that field in the certified payroll actually can be changed by the contractor. So you really should, in the course of reviewing the payroll and correlating this information on the CFBS to the payroll, you should be scanning your pay dates and you should be looking for anything that's out of the norm. Again, if you missed the certified payroll review training, go back. We talk about this in a little bit more depth and also go over some red flags to identify potentially contractors that aren't paying in a timely manner. Okay. Again, the system does not automatically populate the pay period, and it doesn't automatically populate the pay period. So it's really important to identify this information and make sure that you're looking at it in detail. It is all hard entered by the contractor. In case you didn't know, we shared this in the last training, want to share it, that CDOT does have a certified payroll guide for frequently asked questions. We've given you the link here. It is a wonderful resource of information, and we just wanted you to be aware that it is there and take advantage of that information at your fingertips. So I think that you've been able to throw some questions into the chat box, and we've been accumulating those. So I'd kind of like to circle back on them and see if we can get you some answers at this time. Okay.
I
So
do have one question, if you have a minute.
absolutely.
I just wanted to clarify, I do review payrolls. And so on the current CFBS that the consultants are using,
Mhm.
if they are paying their consultants, let's say they're only paying in cash, but outside of that, well, with the cash, they fulfill the Davis-Bacon
Mhm.
needs with that. But outside of that, they also offer other benefits that the employees are able to take care of, but they don't count those toward their fringe benefits.
Mhm.
Do they have to indicate that in any way on the CFBS?
Well, the purpose is that they have to meet the minimum wage requirement for Davis-Bacon Act. And so if they're paying sufficient cash wages and it's not necessary for them to claim those fringe benefits, they technically don't have to report those because they've met the minimum. That's really their option because again, we're looking to make sure that they are meeting the requirements of Davis-Bacon Act, right? And I do just want to clarify something you said just for the benefit of everyone on here. You said when they're paying their consultant, they wouldn't ever be paying their consultant subject to Davis-Bacon. So I think you meant to say contractor, right?
Right. Thank
Okay.
you.
I just didn't want to confuse anyone.
Thank you. Yes.
No worries at all.
All right. Thank you for that explanation. I appreciate it. I've been
Yes,
reviewing
absolutely.
payrolls and see on the CFBS cash only, and then see all these other benefits being withheld from pay. And
Right. And sometimes they do go ahead and report them anyway, but they're still just meeting them with cash. So they don't have to.
sounds good. Thank you so much.
Sure. If you think of anything else, any questions, feel free to reach out and ask us. And we hope to see you at the next training. And we really appreciate everybody joining us. And hopefully this has been greatly beneficial to all of you.